My name is Karen Stolznow, and I want to give a voice to victims of. Wait, no. As strangely familiar as that might sound, my name is Michael Cortese, sole owner, producer, and chief litigant of Microom Media. As Helmut Mehta in his Pathos blog and Friendly Atheist Facebook page asked the most obvious ethical question in the aftermath of the Karen Stolznow parade of accusations, which is, if you promote a story that turns out to be false, don't you have an obligation to correct it? I approached him. Now, certainly none of the free thought bullies and social justice warriors who were lining up to get a piece of Ben Radford or anyone else that was caught up in the rape and sexual assault moral panic that swept through the atheist and skeptical communities thought so. Either they were motivated by adherence to the question begging slogan, "Believe the victim," which assumes the very thing it should be proving, or they had some value based greater good argument that allowed them to dismiss inconvenient facts. Maybe they were just fond of virtue signaling in general, or just liked moral posturing in the midst of a bloody feeding frenzy. And certainly Karen Stolznow doesn't think so. Her recent concern with whitewashing the internet of evidence of her campaign of thinly ennobled vindictiveness is more about trying to preserve her own tattered reputation than that of the person she accused. And for that, she's willing to use and abuse the YouTube copyright protections as the thin edge of the wedge to go after my content, particularly those videos made 2 years ago, well before she recanted, which show even at that time her claims were untenable. And for that, I was willing to post to the Friendly Atheist Facebook page, in the open, using my real name, and coming out from behind my avatar. However, I don't consider this outing myself. First off, I have been doxxed and subsequently harassed with threats and tortious interference in the form of bogus claims, quickly dismissed, made to my employer since 2005. Greg Layden's doxing may have been the most ineptly entertaining, but it certainly wasn't the first. Secondly, not appearing on camera has less to do with my super secret identity and more to do with not wanting to be yet another talking head, obviously reading a prepared text as indicated by my eyes looking down and to the right, complete with error-induced jump cuts. I wanted the primary focus to be my words, my voice, and whatever visuals I needed to make my point. Aside from that, I'm often incapable of speaking a complete English sentence without experiencing vocal cascade failure, and so audio allows me to cover my blunders more or less seamlessly. But thanks to YouTube's system, which does very little to protect content creators from bogus and otherwise frivolous claims, in order to contest the copyright strike, I had to hand over my personal details to perhaps the most ruthless harasser and would-be censor in the atheist and skeptical community. And so I doubt it makes much difference now anyway, especially as PZ Myers is probably pulling up my address on Google Maps even as I speak. The real shame in all this is that apparently Karen Stolznow has not yet learned that the best way to deal with people is as people, and not as default underlings she can impose her will on. Because she can't. Because she's not any good at it. Taking preemptive punitive action and then simultaneously making overtures to reach an agreement with one hand and threatening litigation with the other just is not productive. It's self-defeating. Stolznow's attorney, Cassandra Kirsch, had a little talk with my attorney, and as of now, the ball is still in her court. What she has done is delay any discussion for another 3 weeks due to reasons, and at this point, I doubt she has the inclination much less the ability to remove that copyright strike. In which case, my YouTube channel will be effectively crippled as much as she was able to until September. However, the period from the end of March well into May, when this and other myriad problems were weighing down on me, seems to be over. I have fixed what I can fix and fought what I can fight. And overall, I'm in a better position in life and social media than I have been in a long time. Certainly better than the state of mind I was in when I had to remove most of my 4 years' worth of content and put up the text only as things get silently ugly, where I was of a mind that what I did didn't actually matter. The massive and inspiring outpouring of support, the legal help, the doubling of my patrons, the several mirror sites of my work, including those on foreign servers, means that despite their best efforts, they will not be able to silence me. And just as important to me is the kind words and anecdotes of how my videos inspired others to create their own content, fight against the forces of stupid, or just gave someone something to listen to on a long drive or while cleaning the house. And in one case, they brought a couple together when they realized that they both watch my work, and so knowing they share the same sense of humor about these sort of things, they spent an evening drinking wine and cuddling while watching my videos, which just seems wrong, so wrong. Now, from the time I took part in the infamous fight against the Church of Scientology on Usenet, to our current state where our right to be heard is contingent on the caprice of a series of social media gulags, I have fought for the right of people to be heard, to speak their conscience, and even stir the shit a little, despite the best efforts of those ideologues and moral scodes who their ideology or naked self-interest thinks gives them the right to silence others. Unfortunately, the friendly atheist, even though he raised the very question I sought to answer, responded basically with a "what do you want" message and expressed a desire not to get tangled up in a lawsuit or drama, which just goes to show how Stolznow's empty legal posturing has successfully imposed prior restraint on those lacking conviction. On top of that, he couldn't understand how her DMCA strike was supposed to whitewash the internet, and in this case, the very incoherence of her strategy works in her favor. Then again, we already knew that the one thing the skeptical community can't or won't do is turn its skeptical eye back on itself, and that the atheist community is good for pushing the SJW agenda on one side and marching around with a papier-mâché flying spaghetti monster on the other, as if that's taking a stand. Oh, hell. Fuck them. I'll do it myself. And if Karen Stollznow or anyone else thinks they can control content and impose their will on others, especially me, then with your support, they're going to have a fight on their hands that they just can't win. After